obviously one of the reasons why you picked to come here was, to make the playoffs, win championships. That's not going to happen. So what are your, I guess, initial feelings about the season or your first season with this franchise?
I mean, yeah, you said I came here to win championships. We won 1 out of 2. It's not the worst. It's not what we wanted because we wanted to win both. I think this team is good enough to win both MLS and the Champions League in the same year. That's sports, it didn't happen for us in MLS. Since we won the Champions League, we kind of, I would say we never looked the same, as confident and as together like we did in the Champions League. But going back to your questions, 1 out of 2 trophies is not the worst. And if we said this before the season started, we'll win Champions League, but we won't win the MLS and we won't make playoffs. Maybe some people would take it as a good, and some would say it's not. And I don't want to say we're happy with the season. We're happy with the first part of the season and winning that Champions League. But as far as the whole season, obviously Champions League was so many months ago that you forget about it, and we all don't feel the same buzz as we did when we won it. But now we feel the disappointment because the playoffs are about to start next week and we're not there. So I would say we feel more disappointment than happiness from this season. But if you look at it from start to the end, I think it's been a good season and another trophy for this club, and that's, at the end of the day, that's what we play for. So yeah, 100% I made the right decision. I won the Champions League.
How do you feel about the critique, though? Some of the critique can be pretty harsh as far as you guys not making, the playoffs or being good enough to win Champions League and not making the playoffs. How do you feel about that critique, or do you even know that?
Yeah, of course, and I think it's rightly so. It's deserved. I think we deserve it as players, that critique, because we wanted to be in playoffs, and not even playoffs. I mean, you can make playoffs and play 4 days after the final game MLS. You can get knocked out, and all of a sudden you're going to say it's a successful season. I don't look at it as making playoffs. I look at it as going to the MLS Cup. I think if you make playoffs, you go out first round. Yeah, great. You were in playoffs. Your season was 4 days longer. Congratulations. But at the end of the day, you've done nothing. So I think it's, obviously making playoffs is the first step to be able to play the MLS Cup and then to win it. And we haven't done that. So yeah, we're disappointed, and whatever critique we get from the fans and the people inside the football club, it's deserved, and we have to accept it as players. We have to look in the mirror in the off-season and say, yes, this was good this season, this wasn't good enough, and this is why we weren't able to win the MLS Cup or get into the MLS Cup and win another trophy. So, but I believe this group of players will be back next year, and we'll be much better than what we were this year.
Hi, how are you? The expectations for sure is to win at home this weekend, this Sunday.
Yep.
But as individually, the expectation after that, since you guys, like I said, didn't qualify for the MLS, it's going to be almost entire October, November, December, and then probably preseason. So how you going to prepare those 3 or 4 months for have a successful season next year?
Yeah, I think, as you said, the last game of the season at home in front of our fans that have been, supportive throughout the whole season, through ups and downs, they always showed up. So the last thing we owe them is a good performance and 3 points in our home game. So that's why this week was the same as all the other weeks. This week is no different in preparation for the game. And then, yeah, once the game is done and, the off-season will start, I think it's up to players individually. Do you want to come in at the start of January and be unfit and play catch-up, and then, you may get an injury in the preseason? I feel like we were affected by injuries this season a lot. So it comes down to, every player knowing that how long you can afford to take completely off, because I think that's important, especially after a season like we had, so many games at the start of the season, throughout the summer, many games, and then playing catch-up at the end with all the games that we had postponed because of Champions League. We have several international players that had to go long distances there and back, play matches with the national team. So I think we played a lot of games. And next year it's going to be even more games with the Leagues Cup, and with everything that's going on. So it's going to be even more games. So I think it's important to take some time off completely, away from football. Don't think about it. Don't train. Don't go to gym. And then maybe after 3 weeks, a month, whatever you feel like is the right time, then you start kind of from zero to prepare. So when you come in the first day of the preseason, you are, physically in a good shape. So, the guys, then they can push us in preseason, because the preseason will be only 3 to 4 weeks, I believe, before we play the first game in the Club World Cup. So, yeah, it's not going to be the longest season, but I think, there's a lot of experienced players here and players that have played in big matches and smart players, that they know what they can and can't do in the off season and so on.
Based on your experience, it's going to be 4 trophies next year. How to manage that physically, or something you just mentioned, like do not have that many injuries, and that lose the chemistry of the team.
Yeah, I mean, injuries affected us this year, and some were unfortunate, and it's part of the game, and some injuries kept happening again and again, and it was tough for us. I don't feel like we ever played a longer amount of games with everybody being fit. We always had a few guys here and there that got hurt. Some guys were out for a long time, and we missed them. So with a little bit of extra work in off season can prevent the injuries, then I think the players will be up for it. So yeah, I think everybody will go into the off season with a proper plan and structure of what to do.
Looking ahead to next year, you mentioned there's going to be a lot of games. Means you have to use more players. What have you made the performances of the young guys on the team this year, and what do you think their prospects are for next season?
Yeah, I think the young guys are great. I mean, when JP went out in Champions League final, Obed had to step, and then Obed got hurt a few weeks later, and then Danny and Josh had to step up, and they always did, and they played great. So with the amount of games we have for next year, for sure we'll be using all the roster, all the players that we have available at some point in the season, and just hopefully everybody can be fit, everybody can stay fit, and everybody can contribute to what will be the goal for next year, and yeah, that will be to win another trophy or more.
How did you feel about your play on the wing, especially? That's probably more what you thought you were going to be doing if it hadn't been for the injuries.
Yeah, it was one of those, that when JP was fit, I played in the middle with him, and then when he got hurt, I kind of played there with Obed, Josh, Danny, Kellen at times, and then yeah, these last few games I was on the wing, and yeah, I can play there. I would prefer to play in the middle than on the wing, but yeah, I can play there, and we'll see what will be the plan for next year. I'm sure we'll sit down with the coaches and midfielders and attackers, and maybe the plan will be the same as it was this year. Maybe there'll be some changes, so that will be up to the coaching staff. But going back to my point, when we have everybody fit, it's better, because then there is more options, and then if you have 3 games a week, then you have a lot more players available, I think, for the game. So, I wish nothing but for everybody to be healthy next year.
For this franchise, Sunday can feel like a meaningless game, because of the fact you're not going anywhere. It's not a preseason game, there's just almost nothing to it. But you're saying that you guys as players aren't approaching it that way? No,
I mean, yes, in one way, we won't make playoffs no matter what happens this weekend, but in another way, it's it's an MLS game, and we play at home in front of our fans, and it's the last game of the season. So before they go off to watch the Mariners play playoffs, it'll be nice, to say goodbye in the last game of 2022 with a win at home. I think that's the right end to this season.
The San Jose game before, that was a long time ago, but that was a rough game too, So what is going to be like keys or strategy for Sunday then?
Yeah, I mean, we know what San Jose play like. We know the players they have, and we know what to expect, But I think it's a game about us. I think, if we, I feel like I keep repeating myself, but if we play to our potential, we will win the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just have to go into the game with the right mentality, and with the mentality to win, and forget about this past week and that we haven't made playoffs. Because the mood in the locker room is not the best. You know, it's not there because we didn't make playoffs. You know, everybody is disappointed, as I said, and everyone's aware of where we should be, really. You know, we shouldn't be out of playoffs at this stage, but at the other side, that's the reality. So we'll kind of have to forget about last week, at least for this game, and then in the off season, you know, everybody can spend some more time and reflect on the season and on themselves, and you know how we can improve.
I think I'm
Last couple
hoping,
for Albert, guys.
yeah, I'm hoping this does not make you repeat again, but tell me if it is. You don't have to answer if it is. But you know, you talked a while back about how difficult things were for y'all at that. I think it was after the Orlando loss. You know, just as players, just kind of going through it. So, can you talk a little bit more about that though? Like, how difficult has it been to know your potential but not reach it in a consistent basis?
Yeah, well, it hurts because if you look at the table now, if we had 2 more points, 3 more points, it'd be the playoff situation would be in our own hands. You go back to San Jose game, we were up 3-1 after 60 minutes. In Orlando, we were up 2-0, I believe, after 60 minutes. In LA, we were up 3-2 in 90 plus minutes, and so on and so on and so on. So those are the 3 games that we should have won and have 9 more points, and now we wouldn't be talking here about end of season, but we'd be comfortably in playoffs. So it goes to show how important the small details in a season and how one, careless thing in a match can define your whole season when you look at it at the end, So we have had the chances to be in playoffs. As I said, those are I believe 3 road games that I just said that we should have won, all 3. And we managed to get 1 point out of them. Not even if we tied all 3, we would have had 2 more points than we have now. And that would be meaning we can still make playoffs. So it goes to show the little details, and all the games matter, whether we rotate, whether we don't rotate, whether you play 3 games a week, every game matters, because at the end you add the points, and then 1-2 points can be the difference. So that's why it even feels a lot worse not to make playoffs, because we've had the chances to win games and we were in positions to win games and we managed to lose.
Last one.
Albert, individually, how do you assess your first season here, and what criteria do you use to measure that?
Yeah, I would say an okay season. I wasn't in a position where I was last year in RSL, being so far up the field and being close to the goal. So it was a different role for me that I played here this year. And I played a few different positions and try to do my best. I always said, yes, goals and assists are nice and it's what's expected, but if we win trophies and I don't have goals or assists but I contribute in some way, then I'll take it, So, yes, I would say for sure a better season next year.